So what is the best way to train your glutes to improve the appearance of your butt? The truth is, everything you see on TikTok, Instagram, and even YouTube is wrong. And in today's video, I'm going to explain what the most effective, efficient, and safe exercises are to build your glutes and get a nice butt. What's up guys, Jay Vincent here. In today's video, we're gonna cover how to improve the appearance of your butt, obviously by training your glutes. Now, as the fitness industry continues to expand, butt training is becoming even more popular. There are tons of influencers and Instagram models with butt training programs that they say will help you get a butt like them. But keep in mind, most of these influencers and models actually just have Brazilian butt lifts, and it has nothing to do with their training at all. And the result has become that there are hundreds, maybe thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of butt workouts that are overcomplicated, ridiculous, and ineffective. And in today's video, I'm gonna go over the most effective way to build your glutes to improve the appearance of your butt based on anatomy, physiology, and exercise science. So of course, we want to improve the appearance of our butt. What we need to do is build muscle in our glutes, our glute maximus, our glute minimus, and our glute medius. Now these are the muscles that make up your butt. The biggest muscle, obviously indicated by its name, is the glute maximus, and its primary function is to extend the hip, basically going from a squatted position to a standing position. This is called hip extension, and the glute maximus' primary function is just that. Now we have two other muscles, the glute medius and the glute minimus. These two muscles also assist with hip extension, but also work to abduct the hip in the transverse plane. Now, once we identify the functions of these muscles, then we can pick effective exercises to load, fatigue, and thereby stimulate them to grow. Now let's look at the glute maximus. Again, its primary function is hip extension. So what exercises load the glutes in hip extension? Obviously, the squat. The squat is an excellent exercise to load, fatigue, and stimulate the glute maximus. Also a leg press, another extremely effective exercise to train this muscle group as well. Even things like a deadlift or even a stiff leg deadlift are going to train the glute maximus extremely well. Now, what has become the most popular exercise for training the glute maximus has become the hip thrust. This is solely due to recommendations by Brett Contreras, who has done some really good work in the field of exercise science, but I think it is extremely exaggerated how effective the hip thrust is. In fact, the hip thrust is not going to be any more effective at training your glute maximus than a squat or a leg press. And the primary problems with this exercise is, first of all, the way people perform it. They are thrusting their hips into the air, indicating that they are using a high amount of momentum, generating peak forces, which really is not going to efficiently load or fatigue the glute maximus. It is also going to incorporate too much excessive force, which could potentially lead to an injury down the road. So if you're going to do a hip extension exercise this way, first of all, you don't want to thrust anything. You want to take your time. You want to focus on raising the weight slowly, pausing in the contracted position, changing direction slowly, and lowering slowly on the negative phase of the range of motion. Doing these exercises quickly is not only going to be less effective, it is going to be more dangerous and less efficient. Another problem with this exercise is where the weight is being loaded. Most people are loading the glutes through the hips. Ideally, if you do a hip extension movement, you actually want to load the glutes through the back of the distal thigh, or in other words, the back of the knee, kind of on the hamstrings. Nautilus made a hip extension machine years ago that did this extremely well. It is more safe, more effective, and of course, more efficient. While there's nothing inherently bad about training the glutes loading through the front of the hips, it is just not ideal. But in reality, if you are doing a leg press or a squat with a high level of effort, you are going to be maximally stimulating the glute maximus. And the addition of a hip extension movement or a hip thrust is going to be pretty much unnecessary. Remember, stimulating a muscle has very little to do with how many exercises you do, how many reps you do, how hard you push yourself in the exercise. And training all the way to absolute momentary muscle failure is going to maximize the intensity of effort and maximize the stimulus on that targeted muscle group. So simply doing either a deadlift, a squat, or even a leg press to muscle failure is going to maximally stimulate the glute maximus. Now for the glute medius and the glute minimus, perfect exercise to do this is a simple hip abduction machine. Now keep in mind, when you do this exercise, you want to remain seated in the exercise. Now you will see all over social media that a lot of women are lifting their butts up off the seat. This is wrong. Although it may feel that there's additional benefit doing it like this, it actually reduces the amount of work the glute medius and minimus are doing and recruits more of the fibers in the glute maximus. But we've already trained that muscle optimally through the squat, leg press, or deadlift. So if we're gonna do a hip abduction machine, the purpose is going to be to work the glute medius and minimus, so remaining seated while performing this exercise is going to be essential. Now you do not want to perform hip abduction using a resistance band or a cable attached to the ankle. This is going to produce a long moment arm between your knee joint and the ankle and is going to transmit force into your knee joint. This could result in an injury, damage, or aggravation of your knee over time. So you absolutely do not want to do hip abduction with resistance attached to your ankle. If you're going to do hip abduction with a cable or resistance band, you want to do it through the distal thigh, your upper leg just before the knee joint. This is going to apply resistance to the glutes without unnecessary load and potential damage to your knee joint. Now, exercises you want to avoid. First of all, the unilateral glute kickback. This is an outright stupid exercise. And the only reason it feels relatively effective is because you are placing the glutes in a position of active insufficiency. Now for a second, flex your elbow and then flex your shoulder behind your head. What you're going to notice is a cramping sensation. When you fully contract a muscle that crosses two joints, you result in something called active insufficiency. And a byproduct of that is going to be a cramping sensation. Glute kickbacks are doing just that. You're placing the muscle in active insufficiency, which gives you the illusion that you're contracting them harder or training them harder, when in reality, it is not any more effective and potentially less effective. Another problem with these unilateral lower body exercises is that they could produce aggravation in the lower back over time due to uneven loading of the spine. So you definitely want to avoid any sort of unilateral movement where possible, especially when it comes to the lower body and especially when it comes to training the glutes. So those are the facts on glute training. Avoid any of this silly, ridiculous TikTok view-gaining nonsense and stick to the basics. Stick to the physiology and the anatomy of the glutes and just apply resistance to their primary function. And those two movements, just a hip extension and a transverse hip abduction, are all you're going to need if you're training them to a high level of intensity of effort to maximize the growth of your glutes and drastically improve the appearance of your butt. If you would like a program that will show you how to do this perfectly and give you results that closely resemble magic, go to goldeneraSystem.com and try my Golden Era High Intensity Training Program. Your results will be insane. And if you want my personal help, there's a link in the description to book a 30-minute call with me and learn about my VIP coaching program. I will personally teach you everything you need to know about proper exercise and give you the best results you've ever seen in a very short period of time. So if you want my help, click the link in that description below and book a call with me. And of course, don't forget to share this video. Hit the like, subscribe, bell notification icon so you can be notified where I debunk more fitness industry nonsense with actual evidence-based approaches to training.